Hey everybody, Dane Wilson here with Lender's Choice Credit Solutions. Going to start my next video in the video series I'm doing on how to improve your credit scores. Just to do a quick recap of what we talked about. We've talked about the very first steps if you're trying to build your credit scores, what you can do to start to improve your credit. We've talked a little bit about how credit scores are calculated, the five categories that make up your credit score. And we've gone through a few of those in the videos before this, and we've talked specifically about how to improve each and every category. So I'm going to continue that process today, and we're going to talk a little bit about the dreaded inquiries. You'd be surprised to know that I get more calls about helping people with inquiries than I do things like late payments or collections or charge-offs or repossessions or bankruptcies or student loans or really anything. Most people that I talk to are really concerned about the hard inquiries that they have until I'm able to teach them a little bit about how inquiries actually work. Inquiries only make up about 10% of your credit score. Okay, and so there's other things that are far more important than inquiries, but maybe you didn't know this, but inquiries don't always hurt your score. Okay, there's only certain times where inquiries hurt your score, and there's certain times where they don't. So I'm going to give you a couple examples of that. Number one, when you're applying for a home loan or a car loan, you actually have a shopping window of 30 days, meaning you can go apply for a car as many times as you want within a 30-day window. It'll show all the inquiries on your credit report, but it'll actually only count as one hard inquiry. Same thing with a house. You can go apply at different mortgage companies. Although I don't recommend, necessarily doing that. Rates are generally the same, and as long as you have a good loan officer, I would stick with the loan officer that you have. But you can apply as many times as you want within a 30-day window. It only counts as one hard inquiry. Second thing to know is hard inquiries actually only hurt your score for 1 year, and they fall off your credit report after 2 years. So if you have some hard inquiries on your credit report from last year older than 12 months, those are still on your credit report, but they're not even hurting your scores anymore. So that's another thing to keep in mind. Lastly, there's times where you can apply for something and get a hard inquiry and it doesn't actually drop your score at all. There's different FICO scorecards, and basically you're in certain buckets depending on how you have managed your credit over the past 7 years. And so if you have no late payments, if you're always on time, if you have low credit card balances and you've done a really good job, there's a high probability that you can apply for something and it not even affect your score, not one single point. Only time inquiries really hurt you, or hurt you, as much as they can within the 10% of your score, is if you're already a high-risk person. If you're applying all the time, if you have high credit card balances, if you've been late recently, if you have collections or charge-offs or bankruptcy, then inquiries will hurt you more because you're already kind of considered a high risk. And in that case, it's probably not a good idea to apply at the time anyway. You always want to make sure that you know the qualifications before you apply, so that you kind of have a good know a good likelihood if you're going to get approved or not. You don't want to bounce around and hopefully, and hope that hopefully somebody will say yes. If your scores are low, work on building them back up. That way when you go apply, you already know when you sit down that you're going to get approved. So that's just a little bit of information on inquiries. Definitely not something to worry about or focus on too much. Just be cautious of how much you apply in a year. Only apply when you need something. Don't overdo it. Obviously with the holidays coming up, a lot of stores at the mall are going to try to get you to get their credit cards and things like that. Avoid doing that, and you'll be just fine. If you have any other questions, my number is 214-307-4946. I will be back with you soon to wrap up this video series with the last category that makes up your credit scores. I'll see you then.